chocolate chip cookies. And why not? This classic dessert is always a crowd favorite. Check out this level up version here on Chef's Tape. Now, to get things started, what we have is a beautiful array of ingredients that's going to go into our chocolate chip cookie. So let's get into it. First, what we have is baking soda, some baking powder, salt, sea salt in my case, all-purpose flour, and this special ingredient right here. Essentially what we're looking at is oat flour. You can take rolled oats and grind them in the food processor, as I've done, and there's also ground oat flour available in the supermarkets as well. So that takes care of our dry ingredients. Let's take a look at our wet ingredients. That includes a bit of brown sugar, granulated sugar, then we have unsalted butter, vanilla extract, and finally, an egg. And of course, the star ingredient of this whole show is chocolate, just chocolate that I've chopped up into chunks. You can use chocolate chips if you like. That's pretty much more common. But I also wanted to support these cookies in a way that levels them up. So what we're seeing here are some white chocolate chips, some beautiful pecans, and our flaked coconut. And these ingredients together was something that I was inspired by when I interned in a resort and spa in northern Michigan. So now we're gonna mix our dry ingredients. What we have is our flour, our oat flour, salt, baking powder, and baking soda. I'm opting not to sift. I'm gonna just simply use the whisk in this case. This technique works very well. We'll be able to see a beautiful crumb or the internal part of the cookie towards the end of the video. And simply what we're gonna do is take our dry ingredients and set it aside. And of course, we can use the same bowl for the future steps in this recipe. Pretty simple. Now, what we have here are our wet ingredients we're gonna work with. And usually we would use a stand mixer or we use a hand mixer. But in my case, what I'm gonna use is my mini food processor, and I'm still gonna get a very effective way of creaming the butter and sugar. So what goes in is the butter and the brown sugar and granulated sugar as we see. Put on the cap, and we're going to give it a good mix. The goal of this creaming process is to ensure that this mixture is light and fluffy by the time we're done, because it's going to add to our overall texture that we're looking for with nicely baked cookies. This can take up to about 3 to maybe 5 minutes, and honestly, the more time on that, the better. As we go along, we just want to scrape the sides and the bottom of the food processor to ensure that everything's getting incorporated properly. And so that's been mixing for a couple minutes, as I mentioned before, and now we have a mixture that's light and fluffy with the butter and sugar. Now it's time for our egg. We're just gonna crack our egg. Then we're gonna add our vanilla extract, and this is a common practice in the industry because it just combines a couple steps when we add the egg and vanilla mixture to our cream, butter, and sugar. So this next step is to ensure that the egg is fully mixed into the butter and sugar mixture so it's nice and emulsified. And that's what we see there in our mini food processor. So we're gonna take our bowl that we used earlier, and we're going to scrape our creamed wet ingredients into the bowl. This provides a lovely base for well-made cookies, no matter what cookie we're talking about. At this stage, I'm gonna add my chocolate, white chocolate, coconut, and pecans. And the reason for this is because I wanna do that before adding the dry ingredients, because the dry ingredients has the all-purpose flour, and too much mixing can cause the cookies to become tough. So I just wanted to incorporate those delicious ingredients first before we add, there we are, our dry ingredients. And as you can see, simply doing this by hand, using a plastic spatula, but of course you can use your stand mixer or your hand mixer. And there we have it. This is our final dough. So I'm going to take a 2-ounce portion scoop, and I'm just going to scoop out the cookies there. I like to have them portioned ahead of time because it's just easier to, of course, grab and properly put on the sheet tray in order to bake up later on. And there we have it. Those cookies look so delicious. But before we bake, what we're gonna do is take this really cool step, which is to allow the cookie dough to cure for 30 minutes, preferably an hour, in the refrigerator or even overnight. Once time has passed, what we're gonna do is place our cookies on a parchment lined cookie pan or baking pan, if you will. And we want to make sure that the cookies are nice and spaced out. Now, the cookies are going to go in a 350-degree oven for a total cook time of 13 minutes. In my case, it was 13.5 minutes. Halfway through the baking process, what we want to do is turn the pan to ensure that the cookies have a chance to have an even bake inside that oven. And would you look at that? Those are our leveled up chocolate chip cookies. Ah, yes, baking pan is nice and cool to the touch. So we're just gonna slide cookies off just so that they have a chance to cool a little bit better. So let's take a look at our beautifully baked cookies that are still slightly warm, and Chef there is just breaking into it so that we can see just how beautiful the cookie is inside and out. So Chef's gonna take a taste. What do we think? You just gotta have fun with your food. You just gotta have fun with your food. And so folks, those are our Aave Eats style leveled up chocolate chip cookies. If you like this video and learned something from it, we would love it and appreciate it if you like and subscribe the video and take a look to see more videos coming down the pipeline. And we thank you for watching.